Hello, everyone. Welcome to our fifth episode of our series Why Not Crypto. My name is Bruno. I'm head of operations of Enor Group. And today I have an incredible guest, Guilherme Tondello, engineer, worked as an engineer for 16 years, had his own engineering company for 10 years, started in crypto in 2018, and in 2022 sold his engineering company and decided to dedicate 100% to crypto, Web3, and Bitcoin mining. So, Guy, be very welcome, and please share with us a little bit of what you have been doing the last 2-3 years.
Thank you very much, Bruno. It's a huge honor to me to be here, speaking about crypto, about Bitcoin, about what we love and what we do, what we breathe for the whole day nowadays. And it's a huge pleasure.
Perfect.
Okay,
So,
so I'm guessing I could introduce myself a little bit, if that's okay.
please, and then we move to your latest initiative, the Powder Protocol. I think it's
Nice.
insane, and people love it.
Yeah, let's see. Hopefully so. Okay, so as you said, I'm an engineer by formation. I worked many years as an engineer. I've gotten acquainted with Bitcoin actually much sooner, but I didn't pay much attention to it, unfortunately, for about 1, 2, or 3 years. And then in 2018, I decided to get involved in Bitcoin mining. I had good and bad experiences with Bitcoin mining since then. That's why nowadays I've been more focused on doing Bitcoin mining in countries like in the USA or in Brazil, countries which have security, a legal framework, and whatnot. In 2019, I've gotten involved, and actually I've gotten in love with Web3, smart contracts, and DeFi. Since 2019, I've been doing DeFi on all major blockchains you can think of. The only one I didn't do that much DeFi was Ethereum. Unfortunately, I missed the early days, but I've done DeFi extensively in the early days of Binance Smart Chain, Polygon, Avalanche, uh, yeah, Cosmos, Solana, Injective, Near. Um, Really the major ones, and I've been active nowadays on about 10 blockchains, give or take.
Wow, wow.
Yeah, man, I love Web3, smart contracts, and DeFi, and really I spend a huge chunk of my day thinking about that.
Oh, great. That's awesome. And you mentioned about like Bitcoin mining and some DeFi. So, would you consider yourself like a midterm between a BTC Maxi and DGen, or you playing Michael Saylor's teams?
That's a very deep question, you know that. Um, I like to think about two very different things. Okay, store of value. There's really only one. There's absolutely only one, and it's Bitcoin. Bitcoin is like digital gold, and there's nothing like it. Like Michael Saylor says, there's no second best. There's only Bitcoin. Some people like to see tokens like Ethereum, maybe like silver, or a different store of value and whatnot. I don't see Web3 as a store of value. I see Web3 not like a precious metal. I see Web3 like steel and concrete, for instance. Who would put steel and concrete in a safe and wait for it to gain value? No one. That's insane, right? If you
Yeah.
have steel and concrete, you build something, and then you put something in there, and then you work. You build a company, a business, a factory. I don't know. So that's the way I see, man. Store of value, there's absolutely only one. But Web3 is like the rails, is like potential.
The
Is
infrastructure.
Yeah, infrastructure, exactly. It's not for people who want to store a token and wait for it to get value. people who want to work, who want to spend time and effort and build something. Then you have smart contracts for that. That's the way I see.
That's great. That's great. And I agree with you. Vitalik doesn't, but everything is fine.
To
Uh,
each their own, yes.
yeah. So yeah, I've learned that now you're head of product at Powder Protocol. It's a protocol that mixes a little bit of Web3 or real world assets and Bitcoin mining. So I got curious, like, how do you see this correlation between Bitcoin or Bitcoin mining and real world assets? Do you see that is, and this, I think it's one of the most important solutions that Powder brings and accessibility that Powder brings. But how do
Yeah.
you see these two, let's say, hot subjects converging?
Yeah, okay. So Bitcoin mining has become a large scale industrial operation where only huge corporations can participate. It's very capital intensive. Like you can't even start to think about doing Bitcoin mining with less than $1 million, ideally $10 million.
Wow.
So Bitcoin mining was born to be decentralized, and it has become more so centralized through RWA, or real world assets tokenization. Bitcoin mining can become accessible to anyone, again, anyone, anywhere, independently of their economical contexts, how much money they have, their location, their country, political context. Maybe you're in a country with a struggling economy, and then you can invest like maybe $10 in Bitcoin mining, and this could be game changing for you and your family. You know what I mean? Or maybe you're in a developed country and you just want to invest a large sum in Bitcoin mining. You can do that with RWA or with tokenization and smart contracts. You can do this in a private, trustless, and permissionless form. I think this is so sexy, man. You can invest in Bitcoin mining without asking anyone permission. Like you don't need to approach a company and say, "Hey, I want to invest in Bitcoin mining. Can I be your customer?" No, you just connect your wallet in interact with a smart contract, and then you start mining. You don't need to ask anyone. You don't need to tell anyone. No institution or government needs to approve that. This is game changing, man. You bring Bitcoin mining back to decentralization.
Yeah, that's absolutely, and these are one of the inherent advantages and benefits from the blockchain technology. So there is
Yeah,
nothing really new. We're just using the power of the technology. And but again, you mentioned about like some high stakes on traditional side of the Bitcoin mining, let's say like $1 million, $10 million.
yeah,
But we have seen some cases of people like mining Bitcoin in an Android or by using satellites. And maybe here I'll be getting into your bad experience on mining. But if you could, like, for a beginner, like, what are the basics to start mining Bitcoin?
okay. I think first of all, the your cost of energy is really important. You really need the cheapest energy available you can find. In Powder Protocol, we have access to energy which is 4 to 6 times cheaper than what a regular consumer like you and me would pay in the US, or
Wow.
any country in America. In Europe, energy is much more expensive. We get energy which is, I think, 6 to 10 times cheaper than what consumers pay in Europe, for instance. You really need that kind of energy costs today to do any viable mining, right? If you just want to play, have a one of those nerd miners, which is the way they are called. If you want to have one of those in your home, that's awesome. Do that if you want to have if you want to run a Bitcoin node to say you're collaborating with the network, awesome as well. But if you want to do it viably, it's impossible to do with what us consumers pay on energy prices.
Yeah. So what you're saying is like uh, it's a big like geographical play at the beginning. Plus, you need to have like some benefit on the energy cost because the average consumer doesn't get. So uh, maybe today is not that lucrative if someone wants to 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 mine Bitcoin at home, right? So it needs to be very capital intensive, and you
Yeah,
need to have like great conditions on the energy cost. That it's the biggest cost, right?
yeah, by far.
By far, great. So yeah, I think we're talking about real world assets and democratization. Here at North Securities have more or less the same approach here. So we can really distribute asset list assets that are issued worldwide. Anyone can invest with us. So and I see that powder protocol that you're currently in, and you're currently the chief of product. One of the most important jobs at this crypto space does like this connection, this democratization. So with powder, if I got it right, anyone will be able to invest like 10 or 50 or $100 in Bitcoin mining, right? So please explain me a little bit how does the protocol works, and about the powder token value. How is it composed?
Right. It's kind of like two in one question. The first part of your question, I think that's the beauty of smart contracts and Web3, because you can purchase a fraction of a token. So let's say, for instance, a powder token is like $10. Okay, but you can buy 0.001 token. So I
So
don't know, maybe.
powder is not for Warren Buffett. It's for normal people.
Right. I mean, I think in the very best of Web3 ethos is for everyone. It doesn't matter. It doesn't care who you are or how much value you have. Like if investing in $10 in Bitcoin mining, let's say you live in a struggling country, is a lot of money for you. That's awesome. You can do that. But maybe let's say you have a comfortable life and you want to invest, I don't know, $100,000 on Bitcoin mining. You can do that. It doesn't matter. It works exactly the same for everyone. I think that's the beauty of Web3. And the way the liquidity pools work, you can buy or sell tokens without uh, the need of a counterpart to buy or sell the tokens you're selling or buying, because there are liquidity pools. So you just approach a liquidity pool and buy your tokens there. You don't need to be concerned like, okay, does someone want to buy my tokens, or does someone want to sell to me? No, in Web3, in decentralized exchanges, there are liquidity pools. So tokens are always available for you, or available for you to sell your tokens.
And
Okay, the second part of your question, speaking a little bit about powder tokens value, because I think I think real world assets tokenization is still catching up. It's fairly new to everyone. So there are some key differences which we are not used to. Um, so most crypto tokens have their value based on extrinsic factors, like a future promise of utility, or a future expectation of value, right? Which may or may not materialize. That's why tokens have so much volatility, because all of their value are extrinsic, are based on expectations, something which may or may not happen. RWA tokens, or tokenization tokens, have real tangible value, Like powder tokens, you are tokenizing an actual physical Bitcoin mining operation with a bunch of Bitcoin mining machines, also known as ASICs, which are very expensive. You're tokenizing that. So, since there's an underlying asset or the tokens are backed, you can even use traditional methods for valuing assets, like a known one is net asset value or NAV, in which you would value all the underlying assets which back powder tokens, and you can reach what is the fair value of a powder token.
So
A
so
different, yeah, go ahead.
yeah, so you calculate the NAV over hardware, future flows, I imagine, or current flows of Bitcoin, and you discount basically the energy cost. Am I right?
I would say no. I would say there are two different methods you can use, and that's awesome because it's a dual approach.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you can use net asset value, which is an established method. This way, you would be only looking at the price of the underlying assets. So, how much money is in there? How many tokens? You divide one by the other, and then you know, okay, one token should be valued X amount of dollars because if you sell everything, that's the amount of money you get. Okay, that's net asset value methodology. Okay, that's one. Okay, let's put it aside for a little
Yeah.
bit. Bitcoin mining also has cash flows. Okay, it's profitable. You're getting money every day. You're getting Bitcoin every day from mining. So you have future cash flows. They are very predictable, by the way. If you have future cash flows, you can do a very well known and established method, which is discounted cash flows or DCF. It's a known analysis. You calculate all your cash flows, your investment cash flow, and your future cash flows. You bring everything to net present value. You also have to add a discount rate, which is a rate you consider, if you would be investing in other opportunities. So you have to compare them, and then you reach what should be the value of a powder token based on the future flows. What is beautiful though is powder tokens future flows are in Bitcoin or Bitcoin denominated. And if you know about discount rate, there's a joke that says the only discount rate is Bitcoin discount rate. Every other asset should be compared to Bitcoin's discount rate. I
Absolutely.
kind of believe that. So if you have a future cash flow in Bitcoin and you're comparing to, I don't know, maybe buying an apartment for rental or buying, something that gives you dollar cash flows, you have to have Bitcoin discount rate, which is, I think, averaging 50% compound annual growth rate. So if you're going to do a discounted cash flow like for an apartment for rental, and if you use 50% discount rate, nothing is going to be viable. I mean, nothing is going to be viable against Bitcoin. So it is very, very powerful to have a Bitcoin cash flow. It's unbelievably powerful because if you
Yeah.
compare anything to it, uh, the best asset.
Yeah. Now I understand why powder is drawing so much attention from institutional players, from
Yeah.
VCs all over the world, right? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
man, that's insane. Like we are talking uh on like it's 2024, it's all-time high for Bitcoin this year. Many expectations about it hitting like 100K by the end of the year, and this is a question that you will answer, you cannot escape from it. uh and now you come with powder protocol that really democratize this and provides access to anyone to Bitcoin cash flows. So wow, how tell us about a little bit more how on how institutionals and VCs sees Powder inside this whole crypto or real world asset market.
Okay, yeah. We're drawing a lot of attention from institutions and VC investors, like Avail. Avail is a spin-off from Polygon. They provide a blockchain for data availability. They've been like the best partners we could expect. They have the best tech stack available. Um, Actually, can I tell you a little bit about the technology first? Because
Please,
I would speak about Avail, and then I speak about the institutions. So
please.
Avail has the best technology stack available right now, in my opinion. They provide data availability for layer twos, and we wanted to inherit Bitcoin security. So we wanted all our transactions to be written on Bitcoin blockchain, not Ethereum or not other blockchains. And then you need a strong data availability provider for that. You need a rollups provider. All our transactions are written on Bitcoin blockchain using zero knowledge or ZK rollups. Uh, and Avail provides the fastest data availability currently, with transactions being available to be audited, validated, and written on Bitcoin next block in less than 1 minute. And that's amazing. Another partner I would mention is BVM, or Bitcoin Virtual Machine Network, BVM Network. They provide a modular approach. Think about building blocks, like you pick
Yeah.
your, like playing Lego, you pick your blocks and you assemble whatever you want. That's BVM. You kind of assemble your Bitcoin layer 2 exactly the way you want, tailor it for your needs. They've also been an amazing technology partners for us. Okay, so close parentheses, getting back to the institutions. So
Yes,
Avail's
please.
been an excellent partner for us, both technological and institutionally. BVM as well. Avail and BVM are with us since the very beginning. They've trusted us a lot, and we're very grateful for that. Aeon Ventures as well. It's a venture capital group. They've been an amazing advisor for us for all things related to our pre-seed round, which is currently open. They've been helping us with all the details. We're in contact with D Wallet. They are provided for. They provide smart contracts directly on Bitcoin, not a layer 2, directly on Bitcoin network layer 1 on chain.
Wow.
That's pretty amazing. So we're engaged with them to also in the future provide Bitcoin mining on Bitcoin layer 1. That could be very amazing. um, we are in contact with some entities in El Salvador as well, which we can't disclose the details yet, but there are like two or three very interesting ideas being discussed. Who knows? Maybe Powder can eventually have a mining operation tokenized in El Salvador soon,
Bayanor.
using, yeah, Bayanor, of course, using geothermal energy from a volcano. Maybe we can integrate Powder protocol to El Salvador financial rails, so that every Salvadorian citizen can very easily interact with Powder protocol, have their own piece of Bitcoin mining operation, and use mined Bitcoins easily on their day to day, to buy groceries with Bitcoin you mined yesterday, by
Yeah.
integrating Powder with El Salvador financial rails. That can be possible.
We are
Um,
talking about the Bitcoin country, right? So
yeah, exactly.
the
It
perfect
is
fit.
the Bitcoin country. It is the country to integrate with their financials. And of course, NR, you guys have been amazing partners for us. You are together with us on those initiatives. Let's build a lot of stuff together to be announced
Absolutely.
soon, hopefully.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
and about I think about 2 dozen VCs, venture capitalist groups, have already committed to our private round, our pre-seed round, and we are engaged in conversations with many more
Great.
VCs.
That's great. Congratulations to you and to all of your team. It's an incredible job, and it's already a successful project. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's really insane. Now I want to bring a question that I do to almost all of BTC miners, because we see like the press and the media and everyone like saying that okay, so Bitcoin mining, it's very pollutant, and it spends a lot of energy. So and I see many others like saying it's a myth. So uh,
right.
is the Bitcoin mining really sustainable? If it's not, how what could we do to keep it more sustainable, to make it more sustainable?
Right. We operate in more than one site, more than one location. What we see on every location we operate is that it is very good for the city of or for the energy company. Um, as I mentioned to you in the beginning, Bitcoin is not viable if you're paying regular energy prices, consumer energy prices. So Bitcoin mining can only use wasted energy or energy that is wasted or surplus energy, cheap energy, energy that has no buyer, no one wants to buy. That's the energy Bitcoin mining will always use. Bitcoin mining will never compete for energy, like will never use an energy that you would like to use or a company would like to use, because that expensive energy. In one of the cities we operate, we use about 30% of the energy of the whole city. That's because in 2008, before the financial crisis, the city was investing in a huge growth, unexpected growth in the industry, which never came because of the 2008 crisis. So now they have a bunch of surplus energy that has no buyer. The city doesn't use that energy, and with energy production, the numbers must match in the end. The numbers must close. Somebody
Yes.
got to pay. If there's no one buying, the population has to pay. So we go there and we buy that surplus energy that no one wants to buy, so that the population doesn't need to pay. So when we started operating there, the energy for the whole population actually got a lot cheaper because we
Wow.
started to pay for that energy. So similar things happens with all the sites we operate. In a different site we operate, the power plant is calculated for peak usage. So think about the summer when all air conditionings are turned on. That's the point where they need to plan the power plants, their energy generation. So like 95% of the time, even more, like 98% of the time, they're not using peak capacity. So we go there and we use that surplus energy. In the 2% of the time in which, it's very hot and all the air conditionings are on, we have an agreement with the energy company. They simply ask us to turn off Bitcoin mining and we turn off. We have an agreement. So we heavily help balance the network, make energy cheaper for everyone. It's good for the population, good for the energy company. I think that myth is being slowly but surely debunked for like 1 or 2 years now already. The state of
Yeah.
Texas has an amazing success with Bitcoin mining, and it's getting very consensual very fast that most power plants in the world are gonna have to be associated with a Bitcoin mining operation, because that's the By far the
Yeah,
best way to
that's
balance the network.
that's the way to use like wasted energy. So it's not pollutant, and it has some social impact, as you mentioned. Like energy got cheaper, and the energy that was like being wasted now you can use to generate yield and even
Yeah.
compensate the population, compensate the ecosystem around you. So yeah, that's really amazing, and I didn't imagine you worked that way.
Yeah.
Um, um, we had uh, the halving this year,
Yeah.
and the halving it really breaks the Bitcoin mining rate, divided by two. Um, as the price got up, I believe it's okay for miners, but uh, how do you see then on the next halvings? Like, does the price of the Bitcoin needs to keep going up until the next halvings in order to for the miners to keep mining and to for the mining activity to keep profitable? Like
Okay.
this is like one this is uh, one of the things that Satoshi thought like 15 years ago. You think like let me create something that it's
Yeah.
obligated to gain value in order to exist. It's something like that.
Yeah, something like that, I would say. I think the answer is in the question. You said it yourself. The man created this 15 years ago, and been operating flawlessly for 15 years, and that's a lot of time. So, kind of the answer is in the question, okay? It's the answer is it's genius and it works and it will continue working. But surely we can elaborate a little bit further on that. I think the way people approach this topic about having and Bitcoin value needing to go up to remain viable and whatnot, I think people oversimplify it. I really like an example that Michael Saylor uses. He says if you look at like when the MP3 was invented, the music format, the music file was invented, one could estimate that, you know, at the current growth rates, MP3 or music is going to use the whole space of all the hard drives on Earth in like 10 years. So, like, humanity will cease to exist because music will occupy all our computers.
And
That
no one
didn't
imagined
happen.
that the hard drives they would like be
Exactly.
potentialized.
The hard drives continue evolving, of course, you know that. So nowadays we have music, we have videos, we have 4K, 8K, and the hard drives continue evolving. So that's a strong indication of, you know, okay, so it's not that simple. So Bitcoin mining machines are also becoming ever more efficient. So they do more computation with less energy. That's one point. The other point is, okay, let's say Bitcoin price continues to go up, but not as fast. Okay, transactions tend to go up, and Bitcoin halving um, cuts the subsidy by half, but doesn't cut the transaction fees by half. So they become double the importance. Transactions fees gain double the importance at each halving.
And
Um,
after the last halving will be only transaction fees, right?
yeah, I mean, if you look at the numbers in like 2040, I mean, it's gonna be like 99 point, I think 99 point something percent Bitcoin mined, and will be more or less basically, you know, almost not issuing any new Bitcoin. Inflation is going to be like 0.01%, something like
Mm,
that, from the top of my mind. So yeah, we can think that in about 15 years, transaction fees are going to be very, very important, and Bitcoin inflation barely important, and halvings also barely important.
mm,
I don't know. Michael Saylor says himself that there's probably going to be an explosion on Bitcoin layer twos, because that's how you can get scale. Um, there cannot be hyper Bitcoinization on Bitcoin layer one alone. People won't be paying like $2,000 for a transaction. Doesn't make any sense. So maybe you're gonna have layer twos. They are all going to be running on rollups, and they are all going to be running a bunch of transactions on Bitcoin blockchain and paying like $2,000, two
wow.
million dollars. I don't know. That's what Michael Saylor says. The guy usually, knows some
Gets it
stuff.
right. He usually
Yeah,
gets it right. So
yeah,
um, I have a curious question. We're reaching the end. I have one question about powder, my last one. But before that, I said you wouldn't escape. So
yeah.
I want two predictions. One for the end of the year, and since you mentioned about 2040 as a let's say um, a good year when
Yeah,
we can
right.
expect like transaction fees being the biggest
Most of what's happening.
yeah,
Yeah,
the biggest rewards from the miners. Your
right,
Bitcoin price prediction for the end of this year and for 2040.
right. Okay, let's do this. The farther you get, the more error you get. Uh, okay, I'm very optimistic about Bitcoin. I'm looking at massive adoption. I think there's a lot of noise. Germany selling and whatnot. This is just noise, short-term noise. I see about, like, I don't know, maybe five firefighter pension fund and state pension funds in the US adopting Bitcoin. I see the largest Wall Street companies like BlackRock and Fidelity and Vanguard and whatnot adopting BTC. I see BTC as the center stage for the first time, as at the center stage of the election of the US, in which politics are absolutely forced to endorse Bitcoin or commit financial political suicide. So I see that massive adoption, and I'm very optimistic. I think I don't know. I think we may start going higher towards the end of 2024. Maybe tax rates are going to be adjusted towards the end of the year. I think we can be around 100 to, I don't know, 100 to 150K
Wow.
towards the end of the year. But I'm very optimistic about next year, about the top of this cycle. If you look at mathematical models, they were predicting like 150 to 200K. I'm a little bit more optimistic. I think institutional adoption can bring us a little bit higher next year.
Next year.
Yeah, there's a joke I make. Bitcoin maximalists sometimes joke not bullish enough. I like to say I'm never bullish enough. So any prediction I make is not bullish enough.
So for 2040, we're talking about how much? Like $1 million? Not that
Ah,
bullish.
look, Michael Saylor was saying $1 million. I think earlier this year he was saying about $1 million. Then at some point he seems to have pivoted to $8 million
Wow.
for
No, I
mid
can't
to
believe.
long term. I would say 2040 is super long term. So I'm gonna have to say above $8 million for sure.
Wow, wow. Yeah, you chose the right anchor, like anchoring yourself on Michael Saylor keeps you
Right.
safe,
Hey, I have
It's
to.
okay.
I get
And
to
you're
pick
and,
my
and you
team.
yeah,
Get
and
to
you are
pick my
bullish enough.
teammates.
And you are bullish enough, so it seems great, seems great. Okay,
Yeah.
Gui, my last question. Moving back to powder.
Okay.
You mentioned like you're on a pre-seed phase. Uh, I know there are more investors wanting to get into this pre-seed phase. So my
Okay.
first question: if there is some investor interested on getting on the pre-seed phase, how do they need to do? How do they need to? With whom they need to get in touch with? And by being on this, like in the middle of these hottest topics like Bitcoin, like mining, or like real world assets, uh, how optimistic are you? I know you're suspicious, but how optimistic are you, or on Powder's project, and on similar
Okay.
projects for this cycle?
Okay. Good one. Good question. I think Powder Protocol is very aligned with this cycle's hottest topics. We're listening a lot about RWA or real world assets tokenization. BlackRock estimates, I think, $5 trillion potential market for tokenization by the year 2030. That's a lot. Um, Powder is also aligned with smart contracts enable Bitcoin layer twos. I think that's going to be massive. I think no one is ready for that because remember, Bitcoin is sitting at $1.3 trillion value. Maybe by the end of the cycle, it's surely going to be above $2 trillion value sitting around in people's wallets. Imagine you suddenly give all that value utility. Now you can interact with DeFi protocols. You can um, put together financial instruments, structured operations, and whatnot, insurance, loans, liquid staking, and whatnot. You can basically give utility to your Bitcoin, so you're unlocking $2 trillion in value, in Bitcoin's value and utility. Also, I think we might see a flight to quality from other non-Bitcoin ecosystems, like people doing DeFi in other blockchains may turn to Bitcoin and say, okay, maybe I go do my DeFi on Bitcoin because it's the best security, the best token, the best ecosystem to be in. So I truly believe we might see a flight to quality to Bitcoin Web3 on Bitcoin. This is Bitcoin layer twos are a hot topic this year. I think Michael Saylor said it 2 weeks ago. He expects to see a growth on Bitcoin layer twos. I agree with that. And also
Me too.
on, I spoke a little bit about institutional partnerships. We are speaking with some of the founders of the largest crypto projects in the world, projects I admired when I started doing DeFi in 2019. Now I'm speaking with the co-founders, with the C levels in there. I feel like we're just one contact away from, or even speaking with people in the social circles of people like Michael Saylor, President Nayib Bukele, Jack Mallers, Vitalik, Justin Sun. We're speaking with people that hang out with those guys. So I feel like we're one tweet away from drawing a whole bunch more attention.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm very optimistic. You asked about the investors who might be interested in the pre-seed round. It's open currently. So if someone is interested who has proximity or relationship with Inor, speak with Inor. Otherwise, look for us in our official channels. We have Twitter profile, LinkedIn profile. We have our website with our white paper and our social networks. Give us a write. It will be a pleasure to discuss building this together.
Great, great. That's perfect. You heard Guy saying, so get in touch with Inor. We are
Yeah,
very close to Guy and to Powder Protocol. This is an amazing project. It's in the middle of the hottest topics. It's drawing a lot of attention, a bunch of attention of high profiles on the crypto, on the Bitcoin markets, and also in El Salvador. So it's a really pleasure to have you here, Guy. I want to thank you
likewise.
again for accepting this invitation, and I hope to see you in a few months, in a few weeks, with Powder everywhere in the
Up
world.
and running and
Yeah,
blasting mined bitcoins.
yeah, exactly, exactly. Thank you very much, man. See
Thank you
you,
as well.
Paro.
Yay. Oh,
Well,
I suppose we have to continue speaking in English.
yeah, let's do it. Yeah, it was very good. I think we brought all of the
All
uh
of the planned topics, yes. You brought
yeah.
some surprise ones, but I think that's awesome.
Yeah, but that's
Um,
good. The Bitcoin price prediction, the sustainability play. You mentioning about the VCs and the institutionals,
yeah,
uh, everything, the social media. So it was good. It was good, and I
it was
hope to
nice.
see.
It spices a little bit.
Yeah, 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 exactly. And I hope to see. Let's see if this video reaches Bukele or Michael
Look,
Saylor.
man, look, Andre is very optimistic. I have to say I agree with him. We're speaking with I couldn't say this on record, but we're speaking with the actual founder of Polygon and Avail and like three C levels there. We're speaking with C levels of maybe three other large crypto projects. Um, these guys, I know for a fact they have contact with Justin Sun. So I mean, we're one tweet away.
We are one
We're
click
one
away. One
yeah
click
one
away.
one maybe one beer away with someone drinking a beer with Michael Saylor says, "Hey man, did you see that?" Or maybe with Bukele, "Hey man, did you see that? They
Yeah.
spoke about El Salvador the other day. It's a cool Bitcoin mining project." And then Bukele goes, "What? Seriously? Web3 Bitcoin mining? They spoke about El Salvador?" And then I don't know, maybe he tweets us. He
Yeah,
just
maybe.
retweets
Let's
us,
see. If there is someone that's
you
still
know.
watching this, share until it reaches Michael Saylor or Nayib Bukele.
Right. Let's do this.
Perfect. Perfect.